The man who created money and disappeared. In 2008, the world was falling apart. Banks collapsed. Lehman Brothers vanished almost overnight. Families lost homes. Retirement savings were cut in half. Trust in money itself was breaking. Governments rushed to bail out banks. Central banks printed trillions. Panic filled the air. And then, a message appeared. Not from a government, not from Wall Street, from someone calling themselves Satoshi Nakamoto. No photo, no interviews, no identity, just a 9-page paper titled, Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. No marketing, no company, no funding, only code, cryptography, and a radical idea. Money without banks. That was the birth of Bitcoin. A different kind of money. Imagine money that doesn't belong to any country. No central bank controls it. No government prints more of it. No politician can change its rules. No one can freeze it. No one can inflate it at will. No single authority can shut it down. That was the vision. In January 2009, the first Bitcoin block was mined. Hidden inside that first block, the Genesis block, was a message referencing newspaper headlines about bank bailouts happening at that very moment. It wasn't random. It was intentional. It was a timestamp. And it was a protest. Bitcoin wasn't just code. It was a statement. Bitcoin wasn't created to make people rich. It was created because the system had failed. The $100 million pizza. At first, nobody cared. Bitcoin had no official price, no exchange, no institutional backing, no mainstream attention. It was traded between programmers on forums. Then in 2010, a programmer named Laszlo Haniec made a strange offer. He would pay 10,000 bitcoins for 2 pizzas. Someone accepted. Back then, those coins were worth about $40. It was the first real-world Bitcoin transaction. Today, those same 10,000 bitcoins would be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. One of the most expensive meals in history. People laughed. Internet money? Fake currency? A scam. A nerd experiment? But slowly, something strange started happening. Its price began to rise. $1, $10, $100, $1,000. Each jump brought new believers. Each crash brought new critics. Each recovery made it harder to ignore, and the world started paying attention. From joke to power, early believers became millionaires. College students who mined Bitcoin on old laptops suddenly owned digital fortunes. Programmers who stored coins on forgotten hard drives discovered they were sitting on life-changing wealth. Investors who once ignored it started buying. Hedge funds entered. Venture capital flowed in. Financial institutions began building crypto divisions. Even major companies like Tesla, Incorporated, and MicroStrategy invested billions. Bitcoin was no longer just a fringe experiment. It was becoming an asset class. Then something even more shocking happened. A country, El Salvador, made Bitcoin legal tender. For the first time in history, a decentralized digital currency stood alongside a national currency. The money that started as an anonymous internet experiment was now recognized by a sovereign nation. The greatest mystery. And what about Satoshi? As Bitcoin grew, Satoshi vanished. Emails stopped. Forum posts ended. Communication faded. No interviews. No book deals. No public appearances. No confirmed identity. Most mysteriously of all, no movement of the massive Bitcoin holdings believed to belong to Satoshi. Billions of dollars. Untouched. To this day, nobody knows who created Bitcoin. Was it one person? A group of cryptographers? A government project? A financial rebel? The creator of a trillion-dollar asset? Disappeared without taking credit. In a world obsessed with fame and fortune, that might be the most shocking part of all. Why it still matters. Bitcoin has a fixed supply. Only 21 million will ever exist. Not 22 million. Not 25 million. Not unlimited like traditional currencies. No printing, no inflation by political decision. No emergency stimulus built into its code. Just math. Transparent, predictable, unchangeable without global consensus. To some, it's digital gold. To others, it's financial freedom. To critics, it's volatile, risky, and dangerous. But whether you love it or hate it, Bitcoin changed the world. It forced governments to think about digital currencies. It challenged the power of central banks. It introduced blockchain technology to the mainstream. And it started with one anonymous idea during a time of crisis. What if you're early and don't know it? The real question isn't whether Bitcoin is real. The real question is, if a new financial revolution was unfolding quietly right now, not on the news, not endorsed by governments, not approved by banks, would you recognize it? Would you see the shift before the world calls it obvious? Or would you dismiss it, laugh at it, scroll past it, just like most people dismissed Bitcoin in 2009? Introduction. Problems are a part of everyone's life. No one escapes them, big or small, expected or sudden. Challenges show up when we least want them to. But what's interesting is this. The problem may be the same, yet the reactions are completely different. Some people panic, some blame, some disappear, some fight back, and some stay calm and think clearly. The situation doesn't change, the mindset does. In this video, we're going to explore the different types of people when a problem comes. And maybe along the way, you'll recognize yourself in one of them. The first type is the blamer. This person immediately searches for someone else to hold responsible. Instead of asking, "What can I do now?" they ask, "Whose fault is this?" If they fail an exam, it's the teacher's fault. If they lose an opportunity, the system is unfair. If a plan collapses, luck was never on their side. Blaming provides quick emotional comfort because it protects their ego from feeling inadequate or wrong. It shifts the pain outward. However, this habit quietly steals their power. When responsibility is always external, growth becomes impossible. They stay stuck in the same cycle, repeating the same mistakes, because they never pause to reflect on their own role in the situation. While it may feel easier to point fingers, real change only begins when they replace blame with accountability and ask, "What can I learn from this?" Then comes the overthinker. For this person, a small issue quickly transforms into a full-blown disaster in their mind. One mistake becomes, "My career is finished." One awkward conversation turns into, "Everyone must hate me." They replay the situation repeatedly, analyzing every word, every expression, and every possible outcome. Their thoughts spiral into worst-case scenarios that often have little connection to reality. What starts as a minor setback slowly feels like an irreversible life failure. Overthinking tricks them into believing they are being responsible and prepared. It feels productive, as if constant analysis will prevent future pain. But instead of creating solutions, it creates anxiety, doubt, and hesitation. Action gets delayed because their mind is too busy predicting catastrophe. In the end, the real problem remains small, but inside their head, it has already grown into something overwhelming and frightening. The third type is the fighter. This person reacts very quickly when a problem appears. They do not stop to think much before taking action. They face challenges directly and are not afraid to fight for what they believe in. Their confidence and bravery are strong qualities. However, they often let their emotions control their actions instead of thinking calmly and planning carefully. Because of this, they may choose the wrong problem to focus on or make quick decisions that create new issues. Their biggest strength is that they are ready to act. They do not sit back or wait for others to solve things. But when they act without clear direction, their energy can be wasted. Sometimes their strong reactions can create more conflict instead of solving the situation. If they learn to pause, think, and plan before acting, their courage and strength can lead to much better results. Next is the escaper. Instead of confronting the issue, they avoid it. They distract themselves with entertainment, extra sleep, social media, or anything that numbs discomfort. They promise to deal with it tomorrow, believing there's still time. While this escape brings temporary relief, it doesn't solve the problem. The issue lingers and often grows in the background. Avoidance may feel easier in the moment, but it usually turns small concerns into larger, more overwhelming challenges. What could have been handled early with clarity becomes heavier and more complicated over time. As postponed decisions pile up, stress and pressure increase. Retreating may offer short-term comfort, but it rarely leads to resolution. The longer they delay, the harder and more intimidating the situation becomes to face. And then, there is the calm thinker. This person remains steady in the face of difficulty. They don't panic, assign blame, lash out, or avoid the situation. Instead, they pause and take a breath. They carefully observe what is happening and make a conscious effort to separate their emotions from the facts. Rather than reacting impulsively, they ask grounded, practical questions. What is the real issue here? What aspects can I actually control? What small action can I take right now? Their calm approach doesn't mean they are free from stress or pressure. It simply means they refuse to let those feelings dictate their choices. By staying composed, they gain clarity. They break the larger problem into manageable parts and address each one methodically. Step by step, they move forward with intention. Their strength lies not in dramatic reactions, but in thoughtful, steady action guided by awareness and self-control. Then comes the victim. The victim is the type of person who sees every problem as personal injustice rather than a challenge to solve. When something goes wrong, their first reaction is, "Why does this always happen to me?" They replay the situation repeatedly, focusing on how unfair it is instead of what can be done next. Rather than taking responsibility, they search for sympathy, hoping others will validate their pain. Even small setbacks feel like proof that the world is against them. This mindset drains energy, slows action, and often makes the problem appear bigger than it really is. While their feelings may be real, staying in victim mode keeps them stuck. Growth only begins when they shift from blaming circumstances to asking, "What can I control right now?" The last type of people are the silent grinder. The silent grinder is the person who doesn't react loudly when a problem appears. There are no dramatic speeches, no social media posts, no complaints to friends. While others argue, panic, or look for sympathy, the silent grinder simply gets to work. They analyze the situation quietly, accept what went wrong, and focus only on what can be improved. Even when the pressure is heavy, they keep their emotions controlled and their goals clear. They don't feel the need to prove anything to anyone in the moment. Instead of announcing their plans, they build them silently. Days or months later, when results finally show, people are often surprised by how far they've come. Their strength lies in consistency and discipline. For the silent grinder, progress is louder than words, and success is the only explanation they need. Conclusion. When a problem comes, it doesn't change who we are. It reveals who we are. Some people blame, some overthink, some fight, some escape, some play the victim, and some quietly get to work. The situation may be the same, but the reaction makes all the difference. Problems are not meant to destroy us. They are mirrors showing our mindset. The truth is, every person has a little bit of each type inside them. The key is choosing which version of ourselves we allow to take control. Because in the end, it's not the problem that defines the outcome. It's the response.